the anti-tracker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
What is going on? Oh, I forgot this was still up here. Let me get rid of that there. What is going on YouTube? Michael J. Crawford, the anti-tracker, and sorry I'm a little late. Honestly, it was just, I was on Midnight's Edge After Dark, which I did send out a tweet just before that show. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter, and whenever I'm on something like Midnight's Edge After Dark, I'll send it out so that if you guys want to come hang out and have fun, then, you know, then we can do that. And Thomas in the chat with $1.99. Happy VC Day indeed. Number 23 is a celebration of the death, the absolute destruction, the obliteration, the ultimate humiliation of Caroga. Yes. If I could, I'd change that to where it said the day that Caroga died. All right, so into the chat. Thomas is first, Darth Maul second, Chief Cook third, Chris Cook, wow, threw me off there, says hello. John Meyer says hi. Cinnabon is here. Chrono says not first. Multi-Gunman says shut up, I'm first. Vile Mike says howdy, folks. Bird of Prey says look who finally has time for us. Bird, I told you that I was going to be on Mead, and I told you when I was going to finish, and I lived up to it. And, you know, honestly, it's not about just being a sub-whore or anything to go on to shows like Mead. I genuinely believe that all of us in the nerd community need to stick together. And I know Bird's just kidding around, but I just want you to know, I really think that all of us should be supporting as much of the nerd community as we can. Not just the big guys like Midnight's Edge, but the medium-sized guys, like Mecha or Doomcock, the small medium-sized guys like myself or Rock Solid, and the up-and-comers like BIRDOPREY and many others of you that produce content. Because if we're not looking out for each other, nobody else is gonna. So, absolutely. Multi-Gunman says, how's it going? Hanging in there, my friend. Counting down the days to that surgery. Mr. Miles is first, I guess. Chrono says, hey, nerds, Bird, and ... And Mr. Miles says, nailed it. Not sure what I nailed. First to say Cree, says Chronos. Godspeed says, first from Ireland, but Bo, yeah, how are you? Hanging in there, Godspeed. Thank you for asking. Jason Link says, woo. Mr. Miles says, Cree. John Meyer says, high elves can't shoot straight. Well, you know, that's true because they're high elves. Chief Cook says, yeah, right, guys, man. Okay. Chrono says, you're not sorry. Well, I'm sorry I was late, but I'm not sorry that I got to be on Midnight's Edge because it was a fun conversation. They were a little short-handed, and so Tom reached out to me and says, hey, can you please help us out? So I did. Mike Richards here from Columbus, Ohio. Commander Sutter says, howdy, from rainy Kennewick. I wish it was raining here. Jason says, I logged into BIRDOPREY's stream tonight, and he said it was about Ovid. What a crock of Caroga. I was Jalojad right off. I think, Ovid, did you mean over, or you mean, I'm not sure what you mean there. Godspeed says, I'm adulting and opening a savings account. I feel so grown up. Well, Godspeed, that's okay. Tom says that the caption said I was the anti-trucker. Son of a Red Shirt is here. Chronos says, spin it. Mr. Wolverine with lots of love for number 23. Josh Street says, congrats on ending the Turtistan Civil War. Turtistan versus New Turtistan, a.k.a. Caroga. Thank you. Chronos says, don't do what I did. Forget to switch to live chat. Oh, thank you. And I'm doing that now. And Alexander is in the house, says, of course.
I got him! Great hit! Okay,
MCU Aunt May naked. This is what everybody wants. Alexander, you are the craziest person I know. And let's see. The anti-trucker would be a great collab partner. Happy Equinox, first day of fall. Absolutely. In fact, me and Mrs. Anti-Trucker were talking about that earlier today. Chrono says, you are on Mead. Well, Mead meaning Midnight's Edge after dark. Jason said, Bird refuses to learn Turtistani. Well, he'll learn eventually, I think. Oh, you're on. I see how you're. Yeah, sorry, Darren. You hit me on Skype just as I was starting the stream. Sorry about that, my friend. But yeah, it's... and I just realized the anti-cam's off a little bit because Auntie is in one of her snoozing positions. But there we go. And Chrono says, where's Auntie? Well, that answers that. Let's see, Mr. Miles says, I nailed being first. Duh. Well, you know, I'll say this, Mr. Miles. You were the first one to say first on the Midnight's Edge stream, so you were first on 2 streams back to back, so pretty darn impressive. Tom says, by saying high elves in Lord of the Rings should be black, what are you implying about being high? Okay, fine, that'd make the wood elves black. I was simply pulling 2 groups for the sake of the conversation. But I don't think that, like, making a single character race bending them just to race bend them is, I find that quite frankly offensive. But if you were to try to get into the lore of Lord of the Rings a little bit and say, well, if the high elves, the wood elves, and there, I don't know if there's other, I'm not a big Tolkien, whatever you call a hardcore Tolkien fan. I love the movies, but I've never read the books. But I don't know how many elf tribes there are, but yeah. And Alexander says, Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR is the best choice. I know it is definitely the best choice for you, Alexander. I love that picture you sent of the 2 of you. So very cool. And Chris is in the house, donated $5, says, can't stay, just want to throw a little respect your way. And number 22, you absolutely got it, my friend. Let's see. So I assume because there's not 22 UBERCHAT, so I assume he means Super Chat number 22. So here it is. Suffer, Mr. Miles. Oh man, that can be painful. Hey, LA Trigger, possibly second from Canada. I'm not sure. I don't track. Although Alexander, let's see. No, I don't think Alexander posted before you, so you might be first from Canada. And there's Alexander's $2. Thank you again, Alexander. I know you want that naked Aunt May for reasons. Mr. Londell says, greetings and felicitations. Greetings, Mr. Londell. Chrono says, good to hear it. And hey to... Oh, I'm reading the wrong stuff. Jason says, Antrigger meant over. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, we actually, the first round of the war is over. Round 1 went to Turtistan. Round 2, we will find out. Caroga is anxious to even the score. And Bird and I are working together on making sure the rules for the server are equitable and that everybody can agree on some basic stuff. Although and that's the server config file right behind me there, and I was working on that, but yeah, some weird stuff. And Commander Sutter says, I just built my first large-scale reactor. Dude, it must take days to build Goliath. When the new server is up, I'll show attempt one. Goliath was a massive undertaking, I will tell you. It took a long... I don't remember how long. It took, like, gosh, over a week to build Goliath, I think. Mr. Miles says, I found a scene in The Way to Eden where they used a flipped scene of Kirk and his badge on the wrong side. Yeah, you'll find... Every now and then you can spot those because... for whatever reason, they felt that it looked better mirrored. Midnight's Edge was shorthanded, so they asked the Hobbit to come on and help. And we did talk about Lord of the Rings. So there is that. I'm curious if you ever noticed that on that particular episode, I can't say that I have. I have noticed a few flips, but I can't name them off the top of my head because they never jump out at me that much. Being dyslexic, reversing things, I tend not to notice as much as some people.
Hello, world.
And Alexander puts 5 fake Canadian dollars and says, Lore Reloaded thinks that Sonia Gomez and Leslie Neal could... Oh, and then I lost it. And so let me bring up my dashboard so I can see it. Yeah. Log in with YouTube. And Anti-Tracker is me. Man, I got too many YouTube accounts. Most of them are probably dead. All right, so Lore Reloaded thinks that Sonia Gomez and Leslie Neal could be in Picard. I asked him on live chat, and he said he could see that. I could see them being on the show, but I wouldn't bet on it because I don't think there's really any demand for a return of Sonia Gomez or Leslie Neal, to be honest. Just saying. Todd says, Turnistan will welcome the rebels back in, just like the Union brought the South back into the Union. Very true. Kronos says, I know about Mead live chat. I was making a drinking joke. I know, Kronos, and I was just being stupid because, you know, that's me. And there's Alexander's $2 for the Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR is the best choice. I'm very excited that you guys are going to get that immigration done soon. Darren says, that video you posted today, sure... as a video, I assume you mean was. Daniel says, oh my god, Trigger, check Discord or Skype, please. I know you sent me a bunch of stuff, but I haven't had a whole lot of free time. But let's see, what are you talking about? What is that? Let's see. Sundays, I'm not sure specifically what you wanted me to look at here, the recent photo, Black Widow movie, they show Black Widow in a pool walking out with a glowing object. It could be the pool of Vormir since she could come back. I don't think she's coming back. I know you want that to happen, Daniel. I don't think Black Widow is coming back. And I think it would be a bad idea if she does. Because if death has zero meaning in the MCU, then there's no drama. Mr. Miles says, Anchor has never read Lord of the Rings books. That is true, Mr. Miles. Being dyslexic, that would be very, very difficult. Anchor, do we need an anti-cam? An oil painting would serve and save electricity. But she does move every now and then, especially like, you'll notice. By the way, I have one thing here, and I haven't decided when I'm going to give it to her yet, but I do have her favorite thing in the whole world. Her second favorite... And let's see, I just got a Skype message from BIRDOPREY asking if I'm streaming tonight. Yeah. BIRDOPREY obviously didn't get the notification. And so let me go. Oh, I get it, Bird. You're doing that because I asked you when you were streaming. I get it, jerk. Anyway, so Auntie's second favorite. Notice how she just sat up. Just by me grabbing this bag. She was asleep, and she could tell that I grabbed this bag. And this was a gift from Darren. PETA, Pets Eating Tasty Animals Pet Treat. It's basically pork jerky for animals, and she absolutely loves it. However, her first favorite thing is this bad boy right here, a sealed ham bone. And now you see, now she actually jumped out of her bed. She's like, oh. Yeah, and she's now leaning on me with these big sad eyes. All right, come on, Auntie. There you go. She loves that jerky, Darren. All right, Godspeed says, Andrew, you should do a joke video of a balloon with your face drawn on it with a note. Give me money on it, and in the back is a little ass drawn, and Laura walks up and pops it. Yeah, I'm not giving you more jerky right now, okay? If they want me to give you some jerky, I will. Or, who knows, maybe somebody will bribe me to give you that bone. All right. Let's see. Webcam and stream ends. That would be funny. Nicole says, it's the server up, I don't see it in favors. No, I'm currently working on getting the configuration for the server 2.0 to be ready. Jason says, "BirdPrey, love you, man. Keep growing your channel. You have my support, bud. Don't take any funning you the wrong way. Don't worry. Bird has a good sense of humor. He truly does." Chrono says, the eyes. Yeah, Auntie has got a set of eyes that will absolutely make you cry. Let's see. Nicole says, "I've read Lord of the Rings. I'm jealous. I could not read that book if my life depended on it, but I've heard that, of course, they're among the best books ever written." Enter, "Hello, I'm going to have a funny idea for Lord to do on his live stream in November. Ha ha ha. Remember what I did at 5 a.m. last year? Still cracks me up." Yeah. You think you're going to do that again? I will turn my phone off when Laura is doing his charity stream. Gray Troll says, "Hey, how you doing, Gray Troll? No need to fear the eye of Sauron, fear the eyes of Johnson." Very, very true. And there's Alexander's $5 Canadian super chat. Says, "Laura Reloaded thinks that Sonia Gomez, Leslie Neal could be in Picard. I don't see why they couldn't be in the show. I just don't buy that there's any reason for them to be in the show. So I don't think we're going to see that." And S.A. anonymously says, "Feed her, send me the bone." Oh, Sassy. Sassy wants the bone. But hey, Sassy wants you. Yeah, look at that. Look at that look on her face. She knows. Yeah, there you go. She does love that jerky. Look at that. She's just... Tom says, "Have you seen those clips? Maybe you could piece them together for a script." Yes, I did look at the clips of... it's going to be... I'm going to put together a little video of the war, the first war, and how it went from the Carogan perspective, and why Carogan should really just give up on Caroga. Thomas says, "You never finished the Goliath." That's true. I never really completely finished the Goliath, because then they added mods that made the Goliath obsolete. And remember, we did test fire that massive cannon on the Goliath, and holy crap, was that impressive. Godspeed says, "Remember early SG1, did you notice Teal'c's symbol flipped around?" No, I never did, actually. Wow. That now I feel stupid. Chris says, "Good night, y'all. I need to get up early. Have a great night. You too, my friend. Take care of yourself." This is not going to be a particularly long live stream, so you're not missing too much. I don't know if Bird is going to call in or not, but we'll give him another minute to see if he does. I may have missed this. What's your favorite Nog episode? Ooh. That's tough. You know, I would actually probably say the siege of whatever the name of that location is where Nog loses his leg. That was a serious growth episode for that character. And I like the way that Nog interacted with Quark in that episode, where Nog basically teaches Quark about ethics. And so I would probably have to say that one. And yeah, rest in peace, Mr. Eisenberg. It is just so sad. Anyway, Darren says, "Yeah, that video you posted today sure was a video. I mean, it had images flashing before my eyes so fast they created the illusion of movement, but it was kind of cheap." Actually, it's funny because you can blame Mr. Miles in part for that video, because Mr. Miles has been working on what I think is an absolutely beautiful montage, which is a mashup from Star Trek Discovery and the original series. And if we can get away with it, I'm going to show it to you, or maybe I'll just show you sections of it eventually on my channel. Oh, and there is Joe. Hold on a second. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Hey.
So, what I was just saying, though, is that so Mr. Miles was doing this mashup of Star Trek Discovery and TOS, and then I thought about the whole mirror universe thing and the fact that Spock had a beard there, and I was like, ooh, there's a perfect line at the end to describe Spock, so that's where I came up with that. Did you see the short video I put out today?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a video.
Wow, you guys are a bunch of jerks, I tell you.
You know what? I guess I got my hopes up. And then I saw it was kind of short. Like, maybe, and then you started with, like, Discovery's in the Prime universe. And I was like, oh, this is like a dream or, a fake out.
You guys are just no fun. You have no sense of humor.
It wasn't your best work, but it wasn't bad.
Wow, I
I'm sorry. I don't mean. I'm being honest.
Well, that's it. I quit.
I'll be honest. The last few videos have been amazing.
Well, you should like the Dark Phoenix Part 2 that's coming out tomorrow morning. It's actually already available for Patron and subscribes at antitricker.com. But
I have to subscribe one day.
yeah, it'd be nice, jerk. So Darren says you should post some pics of Auntie on the website. Yeah, we need to do something we need to create like an Auntie forum or something so that people can ask Auntie questions and I can ask her and she can answer.
Yeah, it sounds like something you have time for, sure.
Yeah, I know. And we should create a Sassy forum as well so that Sassy can offer advice to people.
You should get a webcam that has its own web interface built in, like a Forcecam or Foscam camera from Amazon. And then we could always have a picture of Auntie uploaded to the website. Like every 30 seconds, it could just refresh.
Oh, it'd just be a 24/7 Auntie-cam?
Yeah, exactly.
The only problem is I would have to move the camera around the house, because when I'm not when I'm upstairs, she's sitting here with me like she is right now. But when I'm not upstairs, she's either hanging out with Joshua or in her kennel or on the back porch.
Well, I mean, at least for when she's up there.
Yeah.
In fact, you get a pan tilt zoom camera. You let people control it. They can pan, tilt, and zoom around your office.
You have to show me that. I've never even seen that camera. So there you go. Now Bird is going to do that. All right, so we're going to stop the chat for a little bit. Don't worry, I'll catch up on the chat in a few minutes. But Resolute threw a couple of bucks in, says, Caroga shall rise again and hail to Bird.
God blah, Resolute.
Yeah, Resolute, all right. So, how are you feeling today?
And hello, Daniel's Hot Topics. I'm doing pretty good today.
Good. All right, so I've been messing around with trying to get. Now, here's the weird thing, and I don't quite understand this, but now I know we were talking about just doing an Earth-centric map, right, where we just have the one planet.
Right.
The problem is that so you go into on the interface here. I'll make it full. I wish I could bring it over to this computer, but I can't. So if you go to New World, notice it has the same selections that you have if you're starting a single player game. And so you can select the Dead Drop Arena, the Empty World, Earth Planet, etc. So
Earth Planet.
Right. So I selected Earth Planet, but it just created the exact same map that you'd see before, right? Like you can see the alien planet off in the distance and stuff. It just starts everybody at Earth. And Alexander put $2 into the chat. Whoa, I'm hearing some noise. Is that coming from you?
Yeah, it's coming from BIRDOPREY.
Okay. So first of all, Thomas put $1.99 into the chat. Says, don't BIRDOPREY want to spy on you? Don't BIRDOPREY wants? Well, of course he wants to spy, but he sucks at it, so it's all right. And wants number 19. So give me just a second to play number 19 here, Bird.
Presenting the newest incarnation of the Joker.
What? What are you talking about? That's not the Joker. That's just some guy.
Oh, right. Sorry. This is the new incarnation of the Joker. Oh, right. Oh my goodness, it's Ronald McDonald's disembodied head.
And thank you, Thomas. I do appreciate it. Also, Alexander says that Caroga has no restaurant owned by Jar Jar Binks. That is true.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So you're saying that Caroga is anti Jar Jar Binks?
Yes. Yes, Alexander Caroga is anti Jar Jar Binks, anti Neelix, but we are pro MCU Aunt May. So
it's a tough one for you, Alexander. I'm pretty sure that Alexander's not interested in Caroga then, because I mean the pro Aunt May. Are you pro Aunt May naked?
Sure.
Okay. What about Asian Muslim wives born in the USSR?
Not only Alexander, I don't think he was on my stream today, but somebody, because the UPS came and I put up the security camera, and they were bringing in a really big box, like a box, you know,
Oh, that's when you got your children delivered.
could fit in, and somebody, I don't remember who, made a comment that it was my mail order bride being delivered, and BIRDOPREY said that she'd be fine with that. So I said, oh, Alexander, if you're listening, if you have another Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR, it's okay to send. But
So you're asking him to send you a spare wife?
if he's got.
You are a sick man. Now, Cinnabon said in the Skype, just while we're talking about the world problem, is that he said to create an empty world.
Yeah, I think you got to create an empty world and spawn in a planet.
So then I'll have to learn how to do that.
Well, you create an empty world, you go in, you'll have your spacesuit, and you go into that admin menu where you can spawn in like resources or whatever. You can spawn in entire planets.
I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
I've spawned in resources, but not a planet.
Okay.
I've seen it on the menu though, so I know it's there.
All right. Well, we'll definitely, in that case, we'll definitely do that probably tomorrow, and to get the map set up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. Now, looking at, let me refresh it just to be safe. Now, Bird set up a poll on the on antichecker.com as far as the mods are concerned. Now, the mods that unanimously have been voted in are lasers, impulse engines, and warp cores. Everybody loves those, apparently. Then we have shields. We had 6 out of 7 votes. And then speed and the Stargate mod each got 4 out of 7. So what are your thoughts on the ones that got 4 out of 7 and 6 out of 6? Like the shields, I'd say we throw the shields in, because 6 out of 7, that means pretty much everybody likes it.
Right.
But the speed mod and the Stargate, man, that's borderline. So what are you thinking?
I personally, I voted for the speed mod, but not Stargate.
So somebody else voted the other way.
Guess so.
Yeah. And I would say this, we should probably, and Alexander puts another $2 in, says, Caroga has no Asian Muslim women born in the USSR.
That's probably true, yeah.
Well, you don't have any women in Caroga except for Mama Prey, right?
No, Caroga has women, they're just not on the front lines.
Oh, so you discriminate against women?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So, there are no women in Caroga, just so everybody knows. Just try to find a Carogan woman.
We don't want our women's to have to suffrage.
You don't want your women's to have to suffrage?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very against the suffraging of women.
So you're against equal rights?
No, we're against the suffraging.
Right. Suffrage. The suffrage movement was for equal rights. So you're against equal
No,
rights.
suffraging. Why would you want anyone to suffrage?
You know, there's a difference between suffrage and suffering.
I think you're thinking of suckerish.
No, I think you're thinking
Like suckerish shookatash, like the cat says on Looney Tunes.
No, you said suffrage.
Yeah,
Yes.
suffrage. Horrible suffrage. It happens during war. Suffrage.
So
Listen,
suffrage.
don't go to Wikipedia. I can make
I'm not going to
Wikipedia say
Wikipedia.
anything.
Yeah. So let's see. What is the? Let's see. All right. So suffrage, noun, the right to vote in political elections. So
That
what you're
sounds like-
saying is
that
you
sounds
do not,
like fake news.
So you do not believe
Is that CNN?
that's just from dictionary.com, actually.
Yeah, dictionary. That's the most partisan site on the internet.
All right, fine. Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster was a hack.
Okay, so
Okay, go to carogadictionary.org.
there's no
.edu.
that would be hilarious if there was actually a website called that. But yeah, there's not a Caroga dictionary available online right now.
Well, it's only available in Caroga.
Yeah, that's because the only thing they're allowed to have in Caroga, right?
No, you can have thesauruses, encyclopedias, phone books, and menus. Lots of menus.
By the way, Thundercats thinks that you should get Sassy a GoPro camera and attach it to her collar so she can stream 24/7.
No, that would be terrible because Sassy would often see me, doing things.
There you go, like eating children,
Nobody wants to see.
like when you eat children.
I don't eat children. Okay, we were saving the children from being eaten.
No,
Just because they were being sold as food, we weren't buying them as food. There's a difference.
Caroga eats children.
No,
They don't believe in women's suffrage.
that's true.
Yeah. They don't believe in.
Well, you killed all our orphans. We got to buy new ones.
There were no freaking orphans at your military base, and if there were orphans,
You know what? It is against YouTube policy to deny a well-documented event. Don't make me turn in your channel.
But it's yeah. So you need to stop denying the fact that we took out a military installation, actually 2 of them, and completely destroyed you. So here's the plan then. So I would suggest, and you tell me what you think of this, Bird, is that because the one problem I have with the speed mods, and I know you pointed this out actually in the thread on the mods, is that if you have a speed mod in the game, guess what happens to everybody that spawns in the game for the first time?
Well, if they know about it, they can manually open the parachute.
Yeah, but you're assuming that people are smart enough to do that or knowledgeable enough about the game to do that. Like, I don't even know how do you open the parachute?
You hit the K to bring up the menu, the control panel menu, and you highlight parachute, and you scroll down and hit open, like it says in the instructions on the post on antitracker.com. So if they read the instructions on how to start the game, hopefully they keep reading on how to use the parachute.
Okay. So if we include the speed mod, then by default we have to include the Stargate mod because they both got the exact same vote.
I don't know that that's. I don't agree with that logic.
Well,
But if that's what you feel, then we can include them both.
you don't think
Is the Stargate mod working?
Well, I
Yeah,
don't know
so
if they've
that's the
updated it
question.
since it crashed.
So I would say maybe we hold off on the Stargate mod until we're sure it works.
Fair enough.
And maybe we can add that. We can say that mod is coming. So if people want to get around, because nobody should be able to use it right away anyway.
Right.
Since we're mostly starting from scratch.
And do we want to have the speed mod, that same one we had, where the max speed is 300, or do we want to go with one of the higher speed mods?
I was pretty okay with the 300, 350 on that mod.
Okay.
And since we're not going to have laser drills, I assume that will make, mining easier and looking for resources easier.
Right.
They made it even harder to find resources with this last update. Any visual representation of underground resources is seemingly completely removed now.
Are you sure? Because I was actually in the game, and I was able to spot resources right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Cinnabon streamed the other day. He couldn't see any. I was looking on a local game. I can't see any, but maybe. I had a hard time finding them even when they were there. So maybe it was just bad position. Okay, I just assumed they'd taken it away because they had certainly cut back on it on a previous update.
Right.
I figured they just finally wiped it out completely.
And then we're going to have a block limit. Now, I did find, and I'm not 100% on how Torch does it, but when I was looking at the block limits, you tell me how you want to try to do this. Hold on. Get out there. All right, so on the block limits, the first option is to set block limits globally per faction or per player. Now, does that mean, like, if we're setting block limits per faction, does that mean that we have to sit there and enter in the block limits for each individual faction, or is that saying that every faction will get the same limits applied to them?
I would think each faction gets the same limits.
And if so, but the problem is that now it doesn't say, like, okay, so I select per faction, but the rest of the options still say the same, and the options are maximum blocks per player, maximum faction count, maximum grid blocks, and world PCU. Now, grid blocks is how many blocks can exist on a single grid. I know that. Its default is 0, which means no limit, so you could build your entire limit on a single grid if you wanted to. And the maximum factions count is also set to 0, meaning that you can have as many factions as you want in the game.
Well, I would set the maximum faction count to 3.
What, Caroga, Turkestan, and 1 independent faction?
Yeah.
But what does that mean if, like, the epic ones and the vile ones don't want to play together?
They choose a side. They become Carogan or Turkestani.
All right. So we go max factions 3. But then we don't know, like, so if I set a per, because there's no faction block limit, there's only a per player block limit. So what we're gonna we may have to play with these settings a little bit. So if we have a per player block limit set to, say, 10,000, and it turns out that that's for the whole faction, then we would need to raise it. If it turns out that that's actually per player, then 10,000 would probably be about right.
It says per player block limit. I'd imagine it's per player.
Right, but then what's the point in applying these block limits globally per faction or per player if the option is always per player? That's what I'm confused by.
Did you Google it?
It's really hard to find any solid information on Torch. I don't know why, but it's very, very difficult. I mean, I know that Torch is a small-time operation. I mean, like, the guy that actually created Torch, I talked to on his Discord when it crashed the other day.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a pretty small outfit. And I think he works for Keen, the company that makes Space Engineers.
Mm-hmm. First of all, there are 3 types of block limits. Limits per ship or station, limits per player, and limits per block type, only for dedicated servers.
Right. And the block type, I wasn't going to mess with. That's like you can say how many
drills you could have or something.
Right. So, like, you can have 5 pistons or something like that, you know, and that, to me, that's micromanaging on a level I don't know that I want to get into.
Block limits are on by default and configured for up to 100,000 blocks per player and 50,000 blocks per ship or station. If you deselect block limits, a warning message will appear, and you can play without any limitations. You can also set custom limits for blocks in advanced settings.
Now, are you reading that from, like, the Space Engineers dedicated server, or are you...
From the steamcommunity.com.
Right. Because that's probably not specific, and that's the weird thing, is because you have the Space Engineers stuff that's generic to the game, and that's what it sounds like you're reading, as opposed to Torch's interface.
Okay, so dedicated servers
That's not
Limits.
necessarily Torch. That's just using the internal dedicated server.
Well, Torch is just a client, no, to use
Right.
to access. So I mean, that should I mean the numbers should match up.
Right, but if they didn't write it properly, and I'm going to start digging through Torch's Discord to see if I can find some information. But yeah, so if we set that, and I saw that Cinnabon put into the Skype a minute ago that world PCU limit is what it's talking about. So if the world PCU limit is 10,000 and that modifier at the top is per faction, it means that each faction can use 10,000 PCU. But then what does that do? And Cinnabon, if you're still with us, what does that do for the oh gosh, what's the term I'm looking for? Independent players. That's what I don't know.
People who don't choose a
Right.
faction.
If you're not in a faction, but you have per faction PCU limits set, what does that do for the players that aren't in a faction? So I think we're square though as far as mods. We're not going to do the mining laser or the Stargate for now, but the rest will load up. And then I'll work on tomorrow morning. I'll work on getting the world set up with just one planet. Since now that I know I need to do the empty world and then spawn a planet.
Right. I mean, if you want me to come in and try or whatever.
Yeah, I'll give you a ring as soon as I have it basically set up so that you and I can mess around in it and see if it looks like the way we want it.
Okay, that
right.
sounds fine. Yeah, I'll.
And what Jim was saying, Cinnabon was saying that it may force you into a faction to build if you do it per faction, which means we would have to raise the faction limit beyond 3.
Why?
Well, unless we put a pretty high number there, I suppose. Like if we gave each faction a max limit of, let's see, the most we got up to in the last game was about 800,000 PCU. So if we have 3 factions and the PCU limit is say 200,000, that would be 600,000 PCU. So we would probably run smoother.
Yeah.
So we could look at that. So we'll try that to start and see if that works. In the meantime, I will let you go and read some chat, and then I got to get to bed myself.
Sounds good.
All right, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Is he gone? Okay, he's gone. Whew. What a jerk. Oh, wait, he's still there. He's supposed to be gone. Dang it. Oh, no, he's gone. Okay. Whew. He is a jerk, but that's okay. All right, so let me finish the chat real quick, and then we'll wrap it up like I said. Darren says, wow, this riveting conversation you and Bird having about a game most of us don't play. Well, then you should play it. Oh, and I realized that the chat skipped ahead, so let me go back. Thundercat says, get sassy GoPro. I read that one. Daniel says, the First Doctor versus Lore. First Doctor definitely wins. Unless Lore sings a song, in which case Lore cannot be defeated if he's singing. Mr. Cat says, I'm pretty sure Caroga is pro The Last Jedi. Oh, absolutely. I didn't ask him about it, but yeah, we know the Carogan theaters play The Last Jedi, Ghostbusters 2016, 24/7. And Darren says, so when were you on Mead? Just before this live stream. I was on Mead for an hour, and then I came on here. Breaking news. Caroga supports human trafficking. That is 100% true, and Bird even verified it. There's Alexander's. Caroga has no Asian Muslim women born in the USSR. That is also true, confirmed by Bird. But don't worry, we do have Asian Muslim women born in the USSR and Kurdistan. And there's Darren's. Wow, this is a riveting conversation. Sorry, Darren. I know, not the most exciting thing for you. What about transporters? For right now, we want to go for max stability. I think that, and we're going to set a time limit on this one so that people aren't like really pissed off when we have to reset. So like if we say, okay, this server is going to run until say the end of the year unless it crashes, then on January 1st, we reset it. That way, nobody's going to think that when we're getting towards the end of December, that that building they built is going to be around in January. Resolute says there are plenty of women in Caroga. We kidnapped them from Kurdistan. Well, there you go. There's more evidence that what you need. And of course, everybody was confirming that yes, suffrage does mean voting rights. Bird doesn't understand that because, of course, he's bird of prey. Mr. Miles says bird of prey equals George Bush. Not sure where you got that from. So Bird is a Carogan thesaurus. Apparently, he is the Carogan thesaurus. Sci-Fi Sith says, hey, Trigger, that's why there's so much sexual tension in Caroga, no women. Yes, I could see, and that's probably why they have such a difficult time holding that joystick steady while they're trying to fly a ship. Carogans equals Mocklins. Changed my mind. Actually, I think you're right. I think that Bird is called Bird because he occasionally lays an egg with his mate. Darren says Carogans eat mashed potatoes with their hands. I've heard that, but I can't absolutely confirm it. I do know for a fact that Bird of Prey eats mashed potatoes with his hands. And Godspeed says Caroga only has Korean fast food restaurants called Beagle Bites, where our food is super sassy. That's what is with you and Korean restaurants? Carogans drink soup through a straw. That's actually not true. Carogans drink soup by pouring it on the table and licking the table. Dan says, Marvel, Kevin Feige wants Wolverine's Hugh Jackman in the MCU. I think that is fake news, Daniel. I truly do. I don't think we're going to ever see Hugh Jackman play Wolverine again. I could be wrong, but I don't think we will. And quite frankly, I don't want Hugh Jackman back. I want Wolverine, not Hugh Jackman. Carogans are so stupid they bring toilet paper to a crap game. Oh, man, that's good. That's good. I saw a parachute for sale in Caroga. It was used, slightly stained, and never opened. Also, very, very true. Mr. Captain says, can we just get to the karaoke? We are all here for bird singing. I know. Speed mod kills, says Thomas, over and over and over. I know, it does, but, you know, Bird... You see, that's the funny thing. Bird of Prey is the #1 victim of the speed mod. He has died by traveling too fast literally hundreds of times on this last server, and yet he wants to continue with it. So, yeah. Jay says, bacon-flavored female body part. Too bad Anti-Tracker doesn't like bacon. Well, you know, I don't necessarily know that a bacon flavored of that would be a sign of a healthy individual, if you know what I mean. Grid block sounds like Tron to me, yes. Darren says, I wonder if Lore Reloaded is streaming right now. I have no idea, Darren. Sorry to bore you. How many subs do you need to start paying a decent wage to your employees, like Mr. Viles? Quite a few more than we have now. And I would love, and Mr. Miles knows this, I would love nothing more than to pay Mr. Miles a living wage so that he could do more stuff with this and he could focus all of his efforts into it. And I know that he would like that. But we got to probably get the channel up to like Nerdrotic size for that to happen. Josh says, Bird of Prey, are you going to buy the new Galaxy Fold Friday? I will definitely not be buying the Galaxy Fold. Bird of Prey doesn't know what the Galaxy Fold is a Samsung phone that literally the screen folds. And some of the early reviews of it is that basically, yeah, it's great when it works, and then it breaks. Can you turn the speed current off speed mod for certain players? I don't think so. And Cinnabon confirms no. Yeah, it's either on for everybody or off for everybody. Mr. Miles says, I said he was Bush because he was failing with words. Him saying suffrage when he meant suffering was a Bushism. Well, no, except the bird means it. That's the difference. George Bush, and by the way, in defense of George W. Bush, he was dyslexic. But in George Bush's case, yes, he genuinely got some words confused and didn't. It was not a particularly eloquent president. I don't think he was a dummy like some people do, but he was not a particularly eloquent orator like, say, Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. And since he was folded in between two very, very strong orators, it made him look even worse. And then, of course, Obama was followed by one of the worst orators we've had in history with Donald Trump. And it's like, oh, okay, that's yeah. But being eloquent with words is not the same as being intelligent. Now, the difference here is that Bird knows full well what suffrage means. He just hates women, except for Mama Prey, of course. And let's see. Dama says, will the economy mod and NPC be in the new world? Yes, it will be limited a little bit compared to before. Before there were 15 NPC factions. I'm limiting that to 5 to try to keep that from going crazy. But yes, absolutely, we'll have the economy and NPCs in the new one. Josh says, they fixed what was causing the phone to break, but I wouldn't drop it. Yeah, I know they say they fixed it. I'm sorry, not interested. I prefer I've been a fan, and it's not a knock on Samsung because I've had Samsung phones for quite a while, and my current phone is actually the Note 10. My last phone was a Note 8, and I really like the Note line of phones. That's my favorite of all the Galaxy phones is the Notes. However, the Fold is just a gimmick. It doesn't feel practical to me. Yeah, it's kind of cool that you could get a screen twice as big with the Fold, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I wasn't trying to get into a Bush thing, but Bushism is a word that describes something. Oh, no, I know what a Bushism is. I remember, like, when he referred to Condoleezza Rice as the fixer-upper and stuff like that. Yeah, he would misspeak, and Bush was notorious for it. I'm not saying he didn't do it. But I'm just saying, I know that some people, and I know you're not saying this, Mr. Miles, but I always, whenever I get into a subject like that, I want to make sure to clarify that I am not saying that George Bush is stupid, nor am I saying that Donald Trump is stupid. They're just not eloquent, and there's a difference. And in fact, I don't think that there's ever been a truly stupid president, period. I don't think you rise to that level when you're an idiot. Now it says, your other stream is still private, I'm defecting. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's up with YouTube. Let me go in there right now. I'm going to check it again, because this is the weird thing. When I went into the video editor on YouTube, let me go to the YouTube Studio, which I hate that they force you to use this crappy beta version. All right, so currently when I go to live streams and zoom in so that I can actually read the stupid thing. All right, so now it doesn't even show the stream. Okay, yeah, now it shows that it's private. Wow, this is just bizarre. And it shows a whole bunch of upcoming live streams for some reason. Upcoming live streams on dates that are in the past. Gotta love that. Alright, so... Alright, it should be unlisted now, I think, because this is the first time I've had the screen pop up correctly all day. So, somebody could try that. I would greatly appreciate it. And let's delete all these stupid upcoming streams, because that's just stupid. And edit and delete. Actually, I'll wait to delete them until later just to be safe. All right. And your other stream is still... Oh, yeah, I just read that. So try it now, and it should actually work. Mr. Miles says, I can't get into the game. Well, that's because the game is not online right now. See, that's the server right there, and it has not been started. John says, I'm now able to watch the stream from last night on the website. Good. So there you go. And by the way, the only reason that it was... Yeah, it should be unlisted, because all my streams go unlisted, but you can view it from antitracker.com after the fact. But the reason that one went to private prevents anybody but myself from being able to view it. And I did that because I accidentally gave a piece of information that would have been devastating had it not been for the fact that Caroga finally capitulated and surrendered. Had they not capitulated and surrendered, that video would still be private because I accidentally put the GPS coordinates to our base in the stream. And so, fortunately, that server is gone now, so it doesn't matter. But if the war was continuing, that they could have known exactly where we were, and that would have been bad. And so, and Thomas says, thanks, I don't like missing part of the stream. No, I understand, Thomas, and I appreciate the fact that you go back and watch them. I think that's freaking awesome, and those of you that do that, it's cool. But yeah, in the server, now, if you heard me talking to Bird just a few minutes ago, we're hoping that the server will be at least up for testing tomorrow, and then we'll have the actual launch of the 2.0 world this week. And so that's what Bird and I are going to be working on over the next 48 hours or so. But with that, I am going to wrap things up. But before I wrap things up, as always, because Alexander is here and because Alexander loves to... By the way, Alexander, I do want you to know your restaurant will be on the new server. I need to work with Thomas on something there to get it set up, and I'm going to do something specific for that. That I know Bird won't mind because it'll be a neutral location for anybody to visit. But I'm going to have you build it, Thomas, because you're great at doing the decor of a place like that. So we'll talk about that a little bit, Thomas, when we're not online right now. Anyway, so with that though, since Alexander, a obvious Turtistani because he knows that Caroga is evil, you get your favorite thing as always.
The board vessel's moving into range.
On screen.
Let's get lost in that magic place all alone now. Drink a fill from my fountain of love, wet your lips. I'm a man, I'm a teaser, I'm a man, well I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a one-night stand, a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a dream, I'm a dream divine, make love together.
He's dead.
Yes, I do love that. All right, guys. Thank you all for being so freaking awesome and putting up with me and Bird talking shop about the server and stuff. I know that wasn't the most enthralling thing, but it'll be a lot of fun. And don't forget to go to Discord or to edtrigger.com if you want to join the game. And those contest winners, I haven't checked yet, but if you sent me the information I need, you'll be getting your key for the game very, very soon, the next couple of days. All right, guys, take care, have a good one, and don't let the bed bugs bite or something.